Hi and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. Okay, this is Mailbag, common feature of the channel. It's where I attempt to answer questions that you guys have left on the channel, or if I can't answer them, I have a good go at answering them, or I throw them out to the wider Tubi community to try and answer on behalf of somebody who's raised the question. Now, we'll get into this mailbag. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. The next question comes from Testoy Toby. I think I've got your name right. And again, this was in response. I had quite a few comments on my summary of the Roland JX-8P video that I did in July 2021. Testoy writes, I have the 8P and it's a good all-rounder with the typical Roland sound. The pads, brass, strings are awesome, and the X mod, basically ring mod, allows you to get into some FM-ish sounds. One of my favourite presets is number 4, piano number 4, preset 33, which was used in Don't Trust That Woman by Elton John. For patch loading plus programming, I used Control CTRLR on my PC, which is super handy and straightforward to manage patches and tweak sounds. I've also made a soundback for this beauty. And I've said in videos before that I considered the 8P, and for me, the cons don't outweigh the pros on it. That's my personal opinion. It's nobody else's. It's my personal opinion, and I think I said that in the summary that it really wasn't for me. And I was quite, when I'd said that, I actually was quite surprised I said it, because I had actually wanted an 8P for quite a while. I didn't necessarily want a 3, but I wanted an 8. I was a little bit disappointed by the machine itself. Not necessarily the sound, but the machine. How the machine was set up and the interface. And I didn't get on, I did a video again, but I didn't actually have as much time as I had with the 8P with the Chord Poly 61. But again, the same kind of thing applied. Was I didn't like the interface. I couldn't get on with the interface, and that made the experience of using the machine difficult. It wasn't necessarily the sound, it was being able to actually interact with the machine. And I think that's one of, I mean, I work in software, I work in IT, as the job that funds the channel, if you like. And one of the things I would say about that is that if you can't get the user interface work right, people don't use it. And I think the JX-8P, although it has some stolic sounds and the programmer makes it very, very accessible, the interface just didn't work, still doesn't work. So anyway, you saw my verdict. My verdict was the Roland JX-10 might be the machine for me, as opposed to the Roland JX-8P. I do agree the pads and the brass on the 8P are not bad, as were some of the strings. It's kind of borne out by the fact that Sebastian Tier, who trades under the name Kibu, uses the 8P quite extensively in his music. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to sort of do further videos on the platform, as the synth's owner needed it back. In fact, there was a sort of string of this going on across the summer, where I borrowed this from a chap who lives up the coast called Richard, and I borrowed a series of keyboards from him, and as soon as I picked the keyboards up, he sold them. He had the keyboards up for sale, and he hadn't had any nibbles. And literally, as soon as I got hold of the keyboard and started doing videos on it, he managed to sell them. So I think what he was doing was giving me all the keyboards that he wanted to sell, on the grounds that as soon as I had it, it would be sold. So when I was talking to him, as I took the synth back, one of the things I sort of went through I didn't like, and he also agreed with many of the same points, which was the reason why he was selling them. But, you know, the bottom line is, you know, I'm just a single opinion, okay? I'm just a single voice. There are many other musicians out there that would vehemently disagree with my opinion on the JX-8P, as there have been on several other videos that I've done recently, where people have said, you know, I don't agree with you. But you know what? That's kind of okay, because everybody is entitled to their own opinion. You know, if we all thought the same way, life would be very, very boring. But you know, if you're gonna take umbrage with something I say, do it in a critical way. You know, tell me why you didn't agree with my opinion. Don't just say you talk utter S-H-I-T. You know, and if you tell me why you don't agree with my point, then, you know, maybe we can have a discussion, and maybe, you know, we can have a session where, you know, I sort of give my opinion, you give your opinion, and, you know, we leave it at that point. As I say, people have different opinions, and that is good. If you're going to leave an opinion like what Testoy did on this particular video, you know, he's done it in such a way that it's I don't agree with you, but these are my reasons why. Well done, well done. I'm really, really thankful that most people who leave comments on the channel leave them in such a way that I am able to actually have a debate, and that debate is then visible for everybody else to see who looked at that particular video. So, as I say, well done, and yes, another thoughtful comment. The next query or comment comes from Jagger Studio 77, and it's in response to upgrading the Roland drivers for Catalina version 10.15. I've said before, this video got so much attention. A video I did in January 2020. And Jager writes, Roland Fantom G6 driver USB and editor librarian for Catalina OS X. And basically Roland have implemented a policy, if you didn't know, that they will not do any driver updates or any firmware updates for anything that has been discontinued. So when Catalina came along and required the drivers to be refactored to work in a 64-bit environment, effectively Roland refused to do so. Catalina dropped support for 32-bit software, and basically if your driver was written against any 32-bit component, you were basically up a creek without a paddle. Now, some software manufacturers have been forward thinking, and they have actually written the drivers in 64-bit. Given the fact that, you know, Apple has been running a 64-bit OS for quite a while, as has Windows, but a lot of people just effectively didn't do the forward thinking, and rather than rewrite the drivers in 64-bit, carried on writing them in 32-bit, and that's basically why you are having problems. And my advice to anybody in this situation is basically raise a support ticket with Roland and let Roland know how unhappy you are, because at the end of the day, you have bought into their ecosystem, you have paid your good hard-earned money for their instrument, and now you are no longer able to use it.